Hey, happy Saturday. Good to see you guys. Okay, with the quarterback, looking at the week of work today, Kyler is not going to be ready to start the game, so Jacoby will start. Obviously, feel good about Jacoby. I do want to give it the next couple days to see if Kyler could possibly have a role on game day. So that's with that.
Hey, welcome in for an emergency podcast on a football Saturday. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier number one in the world. Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Will Brock. Noah, man, everybody giving up time on their weekend. Fresh off a hopefully happy and safe Halloween. And we are here because Jacoby Brissett, not Kyler Murray, is set to play on Monday Night Football, Bo.
That's right. As you heard from the Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon, Kyler won't start. Could get a role for himself come Monday night against the Cowboys, but it's going to be a third straight start for Jacoby Brissett. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Our ascent towards 50K continues. This PHNX Cardinals emergency podcast. It's brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Never ordinary. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the promo code PHNX365. Deposit $10, bet $5, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Johnny, yeah, we are not short on news. Primetime games, obviously the biggest stage the NFL gives you each and every week. With the bigger stage, you get the bigger storylines, and it doesn't get much bigger than a quarterback controversy. And it looks like this one is continuing to go on here in the desert. As we talked about yesterday, is this a bit of a soft benching? What's next for Kyler Murray? Jacoby Brissett continues to hold on to the reins of QB1 here in the desert.
Okay, so you said it. It's in the show title. Is this a soft benching? And I think that's where we have to start. Like I don't think it's like breaking news for you and I like that Jacoby Brissett is playing, because the Cardinals told you all week with their actions, the tomfoolery, right? Which now in hindsight looks pretty ridiculous. Like Kyler Murray was throwing to backups all week, like he's done for the better part of 3 weeks. Ask yourself this: when has a quarterback ever practiced for 3 consecutive weeks, didn't go on IRs, not on PUP or whatever, just straight up like he finished the last game he played in, and then they've had 4 weeks of practice / a bye week in there, and he's been active and participating in practice in some capacity in all 4 weeks, and he's not playing? What does that tell you? It tells me that they are soft benching Kyler Murray on Monday Night Football. And again, there are people in this market, there are people that are using the injury as a crutch. And here's what I would tell those people: congratulations, you're playing into exactly what the Cardinals want you to think. If Kyler Murray wasn't healthy, he wouldn't be practicing. He wouldn't have practiced right after the injury. They like what they've seen from Jacoby Brissett. And let me preface all this by saying, Bo and I aren't coming in here and defending the decision. I'm sure we'll talk about that. This isn't like, oh, Johnny and Bo want this to happen. I'm just trying to contextualize it from what I truly believe is happening. And frankly, people with 2 sets of eyes can clearly see what's happening. Yeah. Is that Kyler Murray is being soft benched because they like what Jacoby Brissett has brought to this offense. Doesn't mean Kyler Murray won't play again this year, but as of right now, this is Jacoby's offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we'll get into the future of Kyler Murray, no doubt about it. And we'll also get into why I believe he's going to be active and he'll be holding down QB2 duties on prime time against the Cowboys. But instead of what could be like a soft relaunch for Kyler back into this offense, maybe some cold feet over the bye week after 2 productive performances from Jacoby Brissett. Because as far as Gannon's concerned, and I know a lot of people are having a tough time believing anything he says.
Correct.
Him saying a couple weeks ago, and Adam Schefter backing those up with reports that all the intentions were going to be putting Kyler Murray back in his traditional, starting quarterback role is, 2 weeks ago. I think that the bye week and the performances from Jacoby Brissett forced this issue. If you think that there's going to be a third performance that could be whelming to underwhelming, Cowboys present the best opportunity for any quarterback in this league to continue their hot streak and putting up numbers. So, I don't anticipate Jacoby Brissett, stumbling for the first time in his starting role. So, when would the best opportunity for Kyler get back be if you're going to, ride the hot hand, as it seems like, they're kind of doing here? Kyler Murray, is he fully healthy? I think he's just right in line with probably every, NFL player right now, where you're dealing with nicks and bruises. But as far as would he be able to play, I think him potentially being active is going to tell you that. And as Johnny mentioned, 3 straight weeks, this guy's been on the practice field with an injury that the biggest cause of concern is if you pivot wrong, if you make the wrong move, you're going to be donezo for the season with, a potential Liz Frank, pull, which you would want to avoid. Why would you risk that? So just kind of reading the tea leaves here, it just seems like
such a great point by you. That is such a great point for people who can't put the pieces together. If it's an injury in which, if it was severe, he wouldn't be practicing. He wouldn't be pivoting. He wouldn't be quick change of direction in practice. He wouldn't be rolling out. Say that louder for people in the back. It's practice is a risk for somebody with a serious foot injury that could end up being Liz Frank, that could shut them down. And he's practicing. That tells you got Twitter doctors out there saying they're just taking it slow. They're 2-5. Everybody's potentially gone in 2 months. And you got people out there saying, no, this is right along their timeline. BS. Turn your brain on, people. They're not going to come out and say that he's benched. They're not going to come out and say that it's Jacoby's offense or Jacoby's team. But guys, number one, I think we've learned, especially over the last couple of weeks with the other injuries to other players, these pressers right now are a tough watch. They're tough to stomach. So Jacoby Brissett is the number 1 third down quarterback in the NFL. If I'm Drew Petzing, we made this argument yesterday. If I'm Drew Petzing, I desperately want to remain employed with this team. And my offense has averaged 25 points per game with this quarterback. I'm not arguing that Jacoby is better than Kyler. Put that aside for a second. What Drew Petzing is, by hook or by crook, wants to do, number 1 third down offense, 100+ yards passing game, more. We have the graphic. We've been saving it all week. We've been using it. Look at these numbers. 13th, they've jumped up from 25th to 12 points per game. Yards per game, 26th to 10th. Passing yards per game, 30th to 5th. And then the number 1 third down conversion, middle of the pack, 16th to the number 1 third down team in the NFL. That's why this is happening. Because Drew Petzing wants to save his job. Monty Ossenford, Jonathan Gannon. They're not going to do this thing where Jacoby Brissett's playing well and the receivers are getting theirs, and they're going to just say, hey, it's time to play Jacksonville. Kyler's ready to go. No, this is done until, we can talk about that. This is done indefinitely. The intermediate. Jacoby's the starter.
Indefinitely. No doubt about it. And, Kyler Murray, it really does seem like people think smoke screen, and there might be some strategy as far as the way practice reps are divvied, but for the most part, this team does. It is kind of just signs pointing to how they're going to, things are going to unfold. And, there's Jacoby Brissett, it's Kyler Murray throwing to the playmakers, with Brissett throwing to the top playmakers. And then you've got Keaton Slovis, who remains on the active roster, throwing to practice squad players. Kyler's practiced with the active roster. I expect him to be on the active, roster come game day. And when you think about a team that is 2-5 and you have to kind of go all gas, no brakes, what has 2025 season proven is Jacoby Brissett is your best opportunity at quarterback 1, where Kyler Murray presents a good backup for you. And it's not in Keaton Slovis. It's like if something happens to Brissett and the Cardinals are in this must win where they're going to be in a must win going forward, you've got Kyler Murray to turn to if something were to happen to Brissett.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, they're having their cake and eating it too. It's like, we don't want to start Kyler, but we know if Jacoby goes down, that Kyler needs to be active to come in the game, because Slovis is not, like, Keaton Slovis, respectfully, is not an NFL player. And I still contend, it's like, why were they working out like the Jeff Driscolls of the world earlier this week? I mean, like, this where there is smoke, there is unequivocal fire. Like, we'll talk about, like, I do think it's a long shot that he's traded on Tuesday because of the hoops that you would have to jump through with other teams. And, you know, we'll see. Does Minnesota look like trash this weekend? Right? Are they toast? Does their quarterback look like he can't play? But Kyler Murray, I believe, is getting traded. It's either Tuesday or it's like next March. Like, that's, and like, I got a text from somebody close to the situation before the show. It's like, Jonathan Gannon is not getting fired. So, like, if Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford and Michael Bidwell are in lockstep with this whole thing, it's like, okay, well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's just like, well, they feel like Kyler Murray is not giving them the best chance to win right now. They will never say that. And partially because it's not very smart, because it tanks his trade value.
Right.
And we've talked about that. But this is an unprecedented situation.
Mm-hmm.
If Jacoby Brissett had been average in these last two games, Kyler Murray would be playing.
Yeah.
Like, we were told, again, we said it on yesterday's show, we were told that he almost played against the Colts. And then Jacoby Brissett was unbelievable. And they're like, okay, Kyler, just take it easy. And then Jacoby Brissett played really well. I mean, if Jonah Williams is not a turnstile, they beat the Packers, right? The defense vomiting all over themselves in the fourth quarter. Like, Jacoby, I see people in the chat saying Jacoby Brissett's 0-2. God, he's been pretty damn good for them. So, but Kyler Murray's had games where he's been let down by his receivers. I'm not going to come at it from a place of like, this is the right move. I'm trying to just be impartial and just saying, like, this is happening and this is why. And if you can't see that right now, I can't help you.
Yeah, I mean, if they're 3-3, this is probably a move that you can put him back in the lineup, right? Even if, you know, Jacoby was one of the guys that got you one of those wins. And I see the argument against Jacoby is like, well, they're 0-2 under Jacoby, but the defense is taking a massive step back.
It's terrible
during Brissett's starts. I mean, they've relinquished 7-point leads in the fourth quarter in the last 3 games, Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett in the game. But like the offense, like undeniable numbers. And then you can look beyond that, like big play passes. Cardinals through 5 weeks. Like, I'm not trying to pile on. I'm stating facts, stats here. 11 big play passes in Jacoby Brissett in 2 games, 7 with Kyler Murray in 5 games. It's like the ball is able to be pushed downfield. That's why you see the passing numbers, nearly 100 yards difference per game. That's why you see the third down, nearly 20% difference in giving yourself a chance, in crucial downs situations. It's unfortunate. Like, it really is. Like, this is a big time bummer because, you know, a lot of the talking points that we hit throughout this offseason, going into this season, the conversations we had with JG about K1, the conversations we had with Kyler himself. Like, you wanted to see success for Kyler Murray. And the start to the season was disastrous from an offensive standpoint. And the quarterback wears that burden. And like, I was sitting there, I'm guilty of this. I'm like, well, Jacoby's not going to go in there against the Colts and throw for 300 yards. The hell he's not. He threw for 320 and 2 touchdowns. He was dealing in the second half. He gave them a shot. He gave them a shot in both games where I thought that the offense was a liability for, you know, the early couple weeks.
He's opened up the passing game, and for whatever reason, Kyler Murray has not been able to do that with this regime. And I'm kind of numb to like the argument now, like, could Kyler Murray do it? The team is telling you they don't believe he can. Like, I think that's just straight up, like, they like what Jacoby provides them. And so as a result, Jacoby's going to continue playing. And again, like, Jacoby could get, God forbid, he gets injured or he has a bad game and they go back to Kyler. Like, but this is all like, I think we both agree Jacoby Brissett's going to play well, win or loss Monday.
Yeah,
And
put up the graphic.
You and I never thought that Jacoby Brissett was going to go into Seattle, or Kyler Murray was going to go into Seattle cold, like having not played in 5 weeks. There's zero chance Kyler Murray plays against the Seahawks. Zero chance. Right. So then it's like, at that point, Jacoby Brissett has started more games this year than Kyler Murray. Or it's about even. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the metrics or whatever, but it's like 4 versus maybe 5 or whatever it is, or 4 versus 4. All I know is like this was trending toward divorce. Now it feels like they took a big step today. I keep getting asked on Twitter, like, and you brought this up yesterday. It's a good question. How does Kyler Murray's camp not make this more of a national story? How does Kyler Murray's camp not make this a distraction? Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. And I know Kyler Murray is a very proud individual. We've had him on this show. He's an alpha. Not everybody's cup of tea from a leadership standpoint or how he emotes, but like he's a very proud individual, a winner from a winning family. Mm-hmm. And his team, they're very, conscious of what happens online. And I don't know if this comes post this game, pre this game. It's going to be very strange. Kyler Murray on the sideline in uniform, active, as you confirm. Like you expect him to be active on Monday Night Football, not playing. It's a very weird, bizarre scenario.
It's one we've never seen in the seventh season with Kyler Murray here. I mean, it's been no questions asked who's QB1 for over, the better part of a decade for the Arizona Cardinals. And now there's somebody that is played well and the team, as far as the circumstances that they're facing, as far as their season slipping away in a pivotal year for the regime. It's just, you have all these variables that play into this. I think the dynamics have changed since Kyler Murray's contract negotiation. They use an example, but and it probably would benefit him, like to avoid a Russell Wilson situation. Like one, the organization's a little bit more buttoned up, and I know people might roll their eyes at that, but as far as how Peyton handled that and how the Broncos went about it, just completely torpedoed any kind of trade opportunity there for Russell Wilson. Like, can you keep that, available to you while also focusing on the most important thing, win football games. Win football games and give yourself, give yourself the best roster going forward for the final 10 games of this season.
Because people are asking, like, what is a soft benching? And you and I have used that term. It's being thrown around nationally. What would you suggest is a soft benching? It's a benching based on kind of a mirage, a faux, not a faux injury, but it's almost just like I keep using the term, have their cake and eat it too, where it's like, we've got this injury with Kyler. Is he technically 100%? No, but to your point, like, who is at this point? He's practicing for you, and yet they're kind of using that as a crutch to keep playing Jacoby Brissett. That's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Kyler Murray's play justified a benching.
Right.
And the injury created that opportunity.
Right.
So when Kyler goes down and then Jacoby goes out and firmly outplays him, that creates, I think, an opportunity to just let things speak for themselves. And it's not, just cut and dry. You underperformed. You go to the bench now, quarterback or clipboard holder. You're in now. Like that's in its traditional sense, just downright blatant benching.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, and these are all extenuating circumstances. And had Kyler Murray not been injured, like, I would have expected him to like play all of this year.
Yeah. Well, we look at Indy and you're like, hey, this is an opportunity for Kyler Murray and this offense to get right. Green Bay, this is an opportunity. And for people who, are in Kyler Murray's corner, win, lose, draw, poor play, great play, mid play, like whatever it may be, like they're going to point to, Jacoby has faced, a little easier defenses than Kyler. And the offense is set up more that's conducive to Jacoby's success. And it's just like, when you look at where the Arizona Cardinals are right now, they're an organization and franchise that's backed into a corner. And the only way they can really kind of scratch and claw and fight their way out is by winning football games. And when you go into a hiatus like they did, where it's like you play your last game on Sunday and then you've got 14, 15 days off with you're playing on primetime on Monday Night Football. There's a lot of tape you can watch. There's a lot of stats you can kind of go through. Gannon talked about, really chatting with the analytics department every day. Like, you're going to go through everything you can and try to make the best decision for your team going forward, because you don't have any other options. You can't just say, well, let's just see how this goes. Like, you have to, this is how the offenses look with one guy. This is how it looks with another. Like, I'd love to see the Kyler Murray redemption.
I would too.
I mean, that gets lost in this, but I think as far as how things have played out for this team overall, and they're 2-5 in the season, it's on life support. Like, the team doesn't really have any options to kind of play around.
I think it says more about Jacoby than Kyler Murray. I think it's like Jacoby Brissett clearly has unlocked what they wanted to see in this offense. And as a result, they're going to say, well, we're going to keep Jacoby Brissett in, and we're going to use this injury, and we're going to talk about timelines that are not real. Like, if Kyler Murray had a serious foot injury, they would have put him on injured reserve.
Right.
He would have gone on IR. He finished the game.
Yeah, we have that. We have Gannon talking about it. He was out.
Let's hear that.
As I sit here today, no.
He provided context for what the next 48 hours, why he's not willing to commit to, Jacoby or Kyler and what their role is, because basically said crazier things have happened in this league to where Jacoby's availability might change or Kyler's availability might change. Just trying to cover his bases. I think trying to cover his bases with that answer, just saying it's not headed IR, barring anything unforeseen.
Why would Kyler Murray be active if he was an injured player?
Yeah, that's where that's going to be the Tuesday press conference, or the post game press conference. That question will be asked, and I think Tuesday when everybody's back in Arizona, win lose, that question will be asked to Gannon.
I don't think
you know the answer.
I think we do.
Yeah.
I think most of the people in the chat do. I think it's very convenient for some people to just go out there and you got the team putting out a Kyler Murray montage about returning to Texas, and it's just this just all feels like we got an expiration date on this bad boy. And I think I expect Jacoby Brissett to win some games the second half of this year. I'm expecting the Cardinals at some point to play better. I think the only way we trend, and we've talked about this, toward a complete roster deconstruction, or not roster, but infrastructure of this regime, and they blow it up, for lack of a better term, is if they lose out or they lose majority, they get swept in the division, then I think that's on the table. But if Gannon and Austin Ford go 4-6, 5-5, 6-4 in the second half of this year, and they win some divisional games with Jacoby, I think you would have that kind of ace in the hole to go to Michael Bidwell and say, okay, we tried to make it work with Kyler Murray. You can see that what we want to do is working. We just need a different quarterback. And I think they'll be given the good graces of being able to do that. But I also wonder, do you think there's ever a point this year, looking beyond this game, that they just put Kyler Murray on season-ending IR to avoid the distraction of what this could end up turning into? I don't know how this doesn't turn into a distraction week to week, especially if you're losing. Mm-hmm. If you feel like your starting franchise quarterback making $50 million, $45 million is a backup, to Jacoby Brissett. I think the easiest way to do that is just, hey, the foot's not responding, we're going to shut him down for the year. Yeah. But could you see that happening? I could.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, you can see through that. Anybody would be able to see.
I mean,
through
you
that.
could see through this though.
Right. Well, I mean, not everybody. You're having to bang it over their head. Yeah.
I mean, you texted me something interesting. You texted me today. I'm going to share this. Hope it's okay that you felt Gannon almost kind of felt like he had a weight that was lifted today.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually. Kind of spaced it, but no, I do think like once Gannon sat down with us today, he was in a much better headspace or just kind of more willing to give information now that he could kind of put this quarterback situation at least behind him in the interim between now and the end of Monday night, and then have to maybe he might go back into what we saw where is more not disgruntled but short with his answers like he was kind of leading up to this, trying to be tight-lipped on it. Tom Pelissaro reporting, actually, I can confirm this just with the injury report, that that Kyler Murray is officially questionable for Monday night. Garrett Williams, questionable. Walter Nolan, questionable for Monday night. So that doesn't change. That's not unexpected. We were expecting that. So
yeah,
DJ is already out. Not going to be activated. And one of Dallas's best defenders has been ruled out and overshown.
Yeah, I expect Jacoby Brissett to throw for like 300 yards in this game.
Well, that's the thing. Like Jacoby Brissett, like people will talk about like his track record, his resume, his stats. Like Jacoby's never gone on a run like this before. No. Like after Jacoby's 320 against the Colts, like I tweeted out like his follow-up games throughout his career. And he's gotten like 250, 260. He went for 279 against the Packers, had 2 touchdowns to Trey McBride.
I think part of this is the Kyler Murray performances over the last couple of years. We would get flashes of big explosives, right? The Rams game last year, the Miami game. But we talked about it. In this offense, he was, I think, kind of neutered. 17 passing touchdowns going to the finale last year. I mean, like he was averaging about 1 passing touchdown per game. And they were not throwing for 300 yards. I mean, they labored for Drew and Kyler together. They labored to get to 200 yards passing every game. And now without Clayton Adams and no James Conner, you're not running the ball like you used to, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, we know this. And we know that Kyler and Drew are, I mean, I think this is the best thing that ever happened to Drew Petzing.
Yeah.
Don't you? I like if Kyler Murray had remained in the lineup and it was still like a middling passing game, then I think the attention would continue to be on Drew. And Drew has Jonathan Gannon's ear. And I think we've made that point. We talked about it on yesterday's show. Drew Petzing right now is the support of Gannon. Otherwise, he would have been fired. And they have nobody else that can call plays. Yeah. If you're Drew Petzing and you're trying to save your livelihood, not sell your house here in Arizona, it's like, I want to remain employed. You're fighting for your life during the bye week to try to keep this going with Jacoby Brissett. Because suddenly it's like, oh, can the receivers play? Can Michael Wilson, Trey McBride's catching touchdowns? It's like, fair or not, those are the rules. I didn't write them. Drew Petzing is indirectly or directly, Drew Petzing's pushing for Jacoby Brissett. And that's it. Jonathan Gannon's a defensive head coach. And they have a better chance to get the defense going, right, the second half of this year. And what if Drew's like, well, I can average 25, 27 points per game with Jacoby Brissett? Let me do that. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, they said after the 5th straight loss against the Green Bay Packers going into the bye week that they were going to look at everything, right? And even though there was kind of a hard stance, Kyler Murray went healthy and you can still use that qualifier. But there was probably conversations, looking at every single person, every main coordinator, position coach, like what when you look at, Israel Wolfwork, and then of course an extension of that is Drew Petzing. Who gives you the best chance to win? We need to win football games. Mm-hmm. Who's going to do that post-bye? What do you think? Their answer is probably just look at the data. Look at
they're a data-driven team. They love data.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jacoby in his 2 games, 61.4 completion percentage. It jumped up to over almost 70%. He's 52 of 81, 600 yards, 64 completion percentage. This is huge. Almost 7.5 yards per completion, where Kyler Murray this year was struggling to get to 7. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He has taken a lot of sacks, all from Micah Parsons, really. His quarterback rating, 97.5, and he's run the ball effectively. 10 carries for 47 yards. The Cardinals' best attribute as an offense is their receivers. Marv, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, Higgy Bear. They can't run the ball. It's like, okay, knowing that, and Kyler has, like, fair or not, can't argue. Kyler Murray in this offense has never been consistent throwing the football. It's never looked good. We've had spurts of it, but like a consistent product of like Kyler's going to throw for 40 times this game and he's going to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. That just doesn't happen in this offense. And again, I am not saying he can't go be with Kevin O'Connell tomorrow and it wouldn't happen. This is not an indictment of Kyler Murray, but it's clear the kind of offense that they want to run, and they're putting their offense before the player, and you can have a separate conversation about that this is what they want to do. I mean, here, I like it. Patrick saying, oh my God, Johnny, 7.5 yards of completion. How many wins do we have in those games? They scored more points in both those games than they did in the previous 4 with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, touchdown. Full touchdown average.
Look at this. Look at the stats. Do we need to pull this up again? Look at the numbers. Sorry, I'll get the comment off the screen. Like, hey, they're going to ride this. This is the number 1 third down quarterback in the NFL. The passing game yardage, you can feel that. You had 300 yards passing in like the third quarter against the Colts.
They gave up 31 yards. They gave up 31 points. They gave up 27 points. You know, with Kyler in there, they didn't give up any more than 22. So, you know, they're giving up nearly almost a touchdown's worth more points with Jacoby's. You know, I thought this was going to be an opportunity for them to get him back in there. I know. I mean, I see you with your profile pick, Kyler, in there. Like, I think people feel robbed of a, you know, this season for Kyler. Like, especially like when we talk to Gannon and he's talking about the offense and how Kyler is going to be consistent and he's going to have his best year yet. It's under the idea that after Clayton Adams left, that they were going to get, you know, they weren't going to miss a beat really with Justin Fry at offensive line. They were turning like the status quo as far as the offensive play calling and personnel, and that they were going to be able to continue to run the football like they did, be a bully in the run game, and Kyler be a big part of that, and then play off of that success. But the season opened up, and the run game went away, and then suffered, you know, huge injuries to RB1 and RB2. And you had to change the offense. And I think the play calling was too behind as far as that's concerned. I think that there was, you know, Teo Mackey's been pointing out how good of a screen team they were last year, where they're not this year. They're one of the better teams last year screen. They were getting like 8 yards per screen. Now they're getting like 3. And Kyler was coached to check down. And the offense has changed. And I think it's more conducive right now to Jacoby's skill set, because you can base it off of and you can play off of going under center, play action, and pushing the ball downfield. And like, was Kyler robbed of playing in a better offense that was more conducive to his skill set? No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any argument there. And I think because of Jacoby Brissett's play and the offense's production, and being able to get production out of players like Marv and Trey McBride and Michael Wilson's game coming alive and Zay Jones being involved. It's giving them the ability to hang tough in these games offensively, be more productive than they were before.
And again, like I'm not sitting here and saying like they believe Jacoby's the answer long term. This is like the NFL is a week-to-week business. This is not 2023 when you can throw out Clayton Tune as a sacrificial lamb for a week after you trade Josh Dobbs, Bo. Like this, the sense of urgency is like, we have to, our best course of action, they believe right now, is to ride this out with Jacoby Brissett and then figure out how to win a flipping game and get their defense fixed.
Yeah.
Like to your point earlier, they can't afford to put Kyler back in and have it look like it did earlier this year and wait this out. Like they need wins. They are desperate for a win.
Right.
And I'm disappointed some people can't, separate the two. Like this was always going to be a year in which like Kyler Murray had to win, or they were at least going to bring in competition, right? And now he's unavailable, and the backup comes in and plays more efficient. And it's like, I can want this team to have success while also wanting Kyler Murray to have success. But right now, those two things don't look like they align with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kyler Murray is going to have an opportunity if he doesn't play again this year. We'll have to see how the rest of the year goes to play for another team and have success. And you can be a Kyler Murray fan while also rooting for this team. But what their actions, like, think about this. Go all the way back to 2023. Bo and I were at training camp, and this show is the only show telling everybody, like, they're trading for Joshua Dobbs to start. And you had old crotchety media members here locally tell you that Dobbs was depth and it was going to be Colt McCoy. And how could they have Colt McCoy use the entire training camp to not start him? And they cut his ass the next day. And Dobbs had about a week and a half, and they started him against Washington. Well, they didn't tell you they were going to do that. They just did it, right? Now, this is a much grander scenario because you're the most important player in your franchise, highest paid player, most attention. You got a nationally televised game. So, yeah, like they're trying to tightrope walk it. And I would argue they made some mistakes this week.
Yeah.
But you could tell right when Bo texted me that this morning, it's like Gannon looks like a weight's been lifted. It's because they want to start Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
And you can argue like this is the right decision, wrong decision. We're going to see how this plays out. But don't get mad at people for pointing out, like, if he was injured, he would not be practicing. Right? Bo's at every practice for the better part of almost a half a decade. We watch these guys. We analyze everything. Like Garrett Williams has been on injured reserve. He's been hurt. Came back this week in practice. Guess what? He's playing Monday. Kyler Murray's been practicing for a month and he's not going to play, but he's going to be active as QB too. And people are like, "Oh, his foot." No, come on, guys. Let's be adults here.
And that remains to be seen. I mean, I feel pretty confident he will be. Just the way
this week or next week, right?
No doubt about it. The deterioration of this run game was the biggest part that crushed Kyler Murray's opportunity to be successful. Like since his return in 2023, how the offense operated, and they were one of the top rushing attacks, and Kyler was a big part of that. And the offense, as far as their EPA, it was where it needed to be, and then they needed to obviously up the explosives in the pass game. But not being able to run the football and their inability to adapt the offense due to that, it really did torpedo Kyler's ability to have success this year. And now with the injuries on top of that, Jacoby's being his the productive quarterback this season, it's just this is the path forward for the time being.
Listen, and
then
Zay Jones catches that ball and DeMarcado doesn't fumble that ball, Kyler Murray's got a winning record this year.
Yeah. And you've got time to find an offense, a path forward with that offense.
But you don't now.
No, you don't. You got to survive in advance for probably the rest of the 10 games. Like that's
the cruel part of the NFL.
Yeah.
If those two plays happen, Kyler Murray's likely still the starter.
Yeah.
But as a result, and those are things out of Kyler Murray's control, he is not the starter right now. That is a cold, dark reality. I mean, Gannon is not on the hot seat if those two things happen. This is just the NFL. Life isn't fair. The NFL's not fair. This happens every year to different teams. I want to segue to this, Bo. Sports Hero asking, do you think Kyler, before we get to these super chats, might be on the trading block? You were pretty adamant yesterday, like almost a zero chance, non-zero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does this increase your barometer of, well, we at least have to monitor this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're obviously monitoring it, and if it were to happen, it would be unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL trade deadline has become something in the last couple of years. It still remains number one, like a team that's in the conversation that's a quarterback away. Very rarely is holding its head above water at this point in the season anyway.
But
and then to be able to pull, like, what quarterback will become available. It's just like there's so many things that would need to align. And then I think still, like, things have to align from a compensation standpoint. That it seems like that would be the toughest thing to get to before now.
No doubt. Now, here's the one caveat. Let's put the Vikings aside because we all feel like the Vikings would be the obvious landing spot. As you know, Diana Rossini's putting out hit pieces on JJ McCarthy. It's like the vibes are like bad. Like the vibes around him are bad in the building. So let's put the Vikings aside for a second, as they're easily number one. Could there be a team out there with a new regime that could say, like, we're going to buy Kyler now. We're going to get him involved in our program. We've got a coach that's stability. We've got a GM that's brand new. I don't know who falls in line with that. Like do the New York Jets say, like, okay, like, we want another option here. Fields has been terrible. The GM and a head coach just got here just to add a quarterback to the room before the offseason. Do the New Orleans Saints do that? Like, or somebody like that. Probably not the Saints because they're starting Tyler Shuck. But like, I'm looking around. Is there a quarterback-led team that's shaky and a new regime that could take a flyer on them? I don't see any that come off nobody in the AFC East minus maybe the Jets. AFC North, not the Bengals, probably not the Browns. Because if Kyler can't run this offense, he wouldn't be able to run Stefanski's. AFC South, no. AFC West, probably not. The Raiders are sticking with Geno Smith. That would be the one team where if they think Geno Smith stinks and they're like, well, let's just add Kyler Murray to get ahead of the offseason. Nobody in the NFC East, nobody in the NFC North.
Right.
Just the Vikings.
You got to keep this in consideration, right? I think that those teams with regime changes and would be looking to upgrade, maybe get ahead of it. I don't think they can get two steps ahead because I think they have to figure out where they're going to be in the draft.
Right.
And, as far as the cap, like, it's not going to be an issue for the acquiring team. Like, they'll probably, I think Kyler's base salary is what they'll have to be taking on.
Yeah, money's not a problem.
Which would be like $22 million. The Cardinals would be the one that would absorb the dead cap, which would, I think, be close to like $36 million between now and like a March trade.
Yeah.
I think that's why it makes more sense for March than now. Like, it would have to be a team that's in win now mode. That's like that felt like they're a quarterback away, and it's
it's the Vikings or bust.
Yeah, it is the Vikings or bust.
Don't you feel like the difficult thing is to pull off a trade ahead of Tuesday is very difficult, but also it's going to be difficult, and we're going to have a front row seat to this, Bo, how they will navigate not tanking his trade value before the end of the season.
It's going to be a real tightrope walk in the rest of the way.
I don't know if I trust them to be able to pull it off either.
Right. Like, you're not going to be able to, we're not going to be talking about this in week 17. Like, is he not healthy yet?
Is he coming back? Gannon's like, I like what I saw from this week. It's close. It's like, coach, he hasn't played. You've been carrying him as your QB2 for 10 weeks. Yep. It's going to be razor thin. I mean, it's like the Daniel Jones thing. It's like, cut me, release me. Then I'll go sign with whatever team I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, Austin Ford's pretty shrewd. Like, I don't think he would do that. I think that Kyler Murray has value, but to your point, like, that's why this is difficult. Like, if the Cardinals had just kind of middled around this year, won about 7 games, Kyler Murray 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio again, you could go and sell him in March and get what you need. Now it's like they're trying to walk this tightrope of, oh no, we need to win games. Oh no, we have to secure his trade value. Oh no, we have to be, politically correct during pressers and say it's an injury, but we all know it's not. Like, at some point, something's got to give. This feels like, no pun intended, like a house of cards. That's why I do think, like, in a perfect world, you could deal him on Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, they did it with Dobbs. Like there was no future with the Cardinals for Dobbs, and the deadline was coming, and they were a game away from Kyler Murray coming back. And they said, well, this just makes long-term the most sense for the Cardinals. Let's get an asset in return for Dobbs. I think, like we've talked about throughout this week, is regardless of who the quarterback is, they're going to have success against this Cowboys defense.
We're assuming that.
With Jacoby Brissett going up against the defense that gives up 2.5 passing touchdowns on average per game, 274 yards passing on average per game, that you're very likely going to have 3 productive starts from Jacoby Brissett, and you've got more data that you can now point to, and it's not just 2 starts.
Also, Jacoby Brissett, we haven't brought this up, was excellent in the preseason. He's been excellent in this offense.
Right.
Maybe this is just,
but it's not just back-to-back games that
right.
Somebody's going to have to sit up and answer questions. It's like, well, look at the offense over 3 games. This is more of an extended look. And I think that becomes maybe the easier launch point, pivot point.
Yeah, because they're not running the football this year.
Right.
Let's get to these super chats. Mr.
You guys are awesome, by the way. Saturday, showing up like this.
And again, like we're open to any opinion, impression, whatever you guys want to throw at us. Just we ask you to keep it respectful. There's 1 or 2 folks that are taking this tough, and I get it. You love Kyler Murray. You want him to do well. Like Kyler Murray's going to be just fine. He's made generational wealth. If it's not here, he's going to have an opportunity to have a landing spot this offseason. And if your team K1, you want him to stick it to the Cardinals. But like these are all human beings. We get that. But right now, it's like Gannon and Monty are like, we got to win some flipping games here. This is our best route, they feel like. Z Professor, $5, Bo. As a K1 believer, this hurts. Feels like we will be in the quarterback purgatory for the next 5 years until we find someone good again. I would argue, Z Professor, they probably felt like they were in quarterback purgatory with Kyler. Like based on what they had, it's like not terrible, but not upper echelon. This was always trending on, I think, Bo, like them adding a quarterback the offseason anyway.
Right. Look, I'm with you on the first part of this. I mean, we were all K1 believers. We thought that this was going to be like with the regime change, this was going to be a better infrastructure for him to be successful. And like we said, like he wasn't the guy to blame for the offensive inefficiencies. Was he the guy that elevated it? No, but as far as how things have changed from a standpoint is where you need to find your success to run a productive offense. It fits Jacoby. So it's a huge bummer. Like it was 7 years that you've invested into first overall pick, an electric playmaker, somebody that's fun to watch. That's what you wanted to see. You want that brand of ball. You don't want I can't wait for this journeyman backup to run the offense for my favorite team. You want to watch somebody who's 1-1 and with a skill set like Kyler Murray finds success. If you don't, you're just a hater.
I think, Jacoby Brissett, this regime's here is going to be the quarterback entering the offseason program.
Yeah.
Michael, resident Seahawk fan. Sorry, I keep screwing this up.
Still think K1 is the second best quarterback in the division, Bo? Let's see. Our revised quarterback rankings. Let's go Stafford, Darnold, K1.
Well, I'm assuming maybe of the starters. Yeah, I don't know. Does it matter?
Yeah.
We got to take. We got to take it in the chin. I thought Kyler Murray was poised for a big year, and then I saw this offense in training camp, and I'm like, this looks the same. When it looked the same as the end of last year, we were spaghetti-o in trouble. Jack, $4.99. Thank you so much, Jack. Jets won a third for Hall. I'd make that call, especially since we suck at drafting in the third round anyway. Give me something to be excited about, Monty. I think this is the team, and I think if anything, there are going to be subtractions from this team,
right?
With potentially a quarterback.
Problem is, Breece Hall is a free agent after this year. So it's a third.
They ain't getting a third.
Right. Right. I mean, they're probably best suited to just keep Hall, and then you get a third or fourth or whatever in compensatory pick. Derek, 279. If Kyler felt it was a benching, it would just come out. Like I said, the dynamic has changed a little bit. It's not like the negotiation went down in 2022. I think Kyler Murray wants to speak for himself more than anything and nobody else on his behalf. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to just see if he ever becomes really available. But, the performance, like Jacoby's got to keep it up. Right. And, but yeah, I don't know. I think for Kyler to continue to earn his contract or get his contract and get opportunities, it's probably best served to play close to the vest.
And again, like he was always very self-aware, like this could be it this year when he was talking about the facilities. Like, hope I'm around to see it.
Yeah.
Peter, $5. How does this regime survive? They have nuked this thing in late January. They have to nuke this thing in late January. Why would we draft another QB in time to the staff? That's a great point, Peter. Because the easiest way for fan base buy-in is just say, hey, we're going to start fresh GM, head coach, quarterback. I look at it. I was just talking to our guy, Coach Stark, about this the other day, who was in the chat celebrating his ASU win. I would say, like, you just got to, Peter, contextualize it from a standpoint that, will people want this job without a quarterback in place in this division? Will people want this job? Like, who's the hot candidate right now? And guys can emerge. And there's going to be competing jobs out there that could look superior, maybe not. And then you got to weigh, like, do you want to start over culture-wise? There's this is going to sound cliche. There's just a lot to like with the culture that they bring. Mm-hmm. Minus the last couple of weeks, because I think they've handled some things poorly. I think Austin Ford has done a solid job drafting. 2024 looks rough, but I think 2025 and 2023 are going to be good. 2023 is good, but like if they finish with like 3 or 4 wins, like I will be here supporting a new regime. I think we got to see how this ends, though.
Yeah, Mac Daddy, are we going to get post Warner purgatory again? That was rough until Kurt Warner. Or I'm sorry, until Carson Palmer. Teams have shown that you can do it. You have to take a tremendous leap of faith, and you have to make the right decisions as far as the next guy. It can't be, post Kurt. What was the option? Was it Derek Anderson?
Yeah, and
then post Carson, it was Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen. Like,
it's a much more quarterback friendly league where guys jump around a lot, veterans, and have success. And there are usually a couple veterans in the offseason that are made available and that have success.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say, and this is not a knock on Kyler Murray. They have one winning season with Kyler Murray since 2019. So, like, I think, like, purgatory, they haven't won, period. So whether it's the quarterback or whatever, like, whatever their avenue is to start winning games, whether the quarterback's a complementary piece or the piece or all the above, that's what they need to figure out. Like, the Steelers win every year 10 games, and they change quarterbacks every year. Like, I just feel like they haven't had consistent success since Arians, and that's been 10 years. So, like, unfortunately, the Kyler Murray era is going to come and go as probably a big what if in Cardinal history.
Keeping it going with the super chats. Fire everybody. What a joke, pathetic organization. You lose 5 in a row, that's going to be the feel for most teams. No doubt about it.
Gabe saying, I'd rather part ways with JG and Drew than Kyler Murray. Well, if they have probably the backing of Michael Bidwell to do this. We know, like, Michael Bidwell in the contract situation with Kyler, and
yeah,
JG and Michael Bidwell are very close. And Bo and I have always been of the mindset, like, Gannon and Austin Ford should be able to choose their own quarterback. Mm-hmm. However, that doesn't come with a big asterisk of, like, but before you do that, you can suck for 3 years.
Right.
You can just run out of time to make your pick.
Dad's drinking again. Feel that. Regardless of the K1 situation, I still have no faith in this coaching staff. Very conservative. No cojones with play calling on both sides.
If they look like garbage, we're not on the fast channel today. If they look like shit on Monday Night Football, like people are going to be like, you did Kyler dirty, and they could be right.
Yeah.
And this you got to fire everybody. So here's another aspect of this is like they need to get their act together.
Yeah.
They need to keep this going with Jacoby, and they need to get their act together. And if they don't do that, then it doesn't matter if Kyler or me or Bo is starting. Then everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Easy money Chubbs, Bo 199. Welcome back to the Steve Keim School of Shit Quarterbacks.
I don't like that school.
Drop out of that school.
Robbo, $5. Roll with Brissett. Trade Kyler for a quarterback. Shador Sanders, maybe. Pass. And draft picks. Eyes on 2026. Gonna have to take a chance, though. I know you said Shador, and doesn't look like he's in favor in Cleveland. Will he ever be? I don't know if that's an option, especially just
their owners.
I don't think the Cardinals would be in the Shador Sanders business ever. Just the way he conducts himself off the field, on the field.
They want a big lumbering guy.
Yeah.
They want a big lumbering quarterback.
Arnold says that Johnny and Bo, that this shit is over for the next 10 years, that we get paid to lie and say good things about this bum team. What do you think? How much did you cash your check yet?
No, I'm doing this show for free 99 for the love of the game. You think I would do this if I didn't love this team? Here's my 2 cents on that. We have had Kyler Murray on. We've been Kyler Murray supporters. We've been Jonathan Gannon supporters. Like I've called for the OC to be fired. I just made an argument that if they keep losing, they're going to have to blow this up. Like I just said earlier in the show, like these are unfortunate circumstances that have led to Kyler Murray not playing, but that's the NFL. Like, come on, guys. Like they're not winning regardless. And if Kyler Murray, I hope Kyler Murray goes and has success elsewhere, but people who are paid work for the team, and that's their job, and they should do that. Bo and I have been ahead of this for what it feels like 2 weeks, and nobody else in this market was on top of this. And I'll pat ourselves on the back. We do this every day. He's at practice every day. We're on the phones all the time with people close to the situation. And that, like, this is just the do you want a show to come and tell you what you want to hear, or do you want to know what's actually happening?
Right.
This is what's actually happening. And again, like, and we'll be critical of it. Like, at no point have Bo and I said, this is the right move. This is the move that they're choosing to do because they feel like it gives them the best chance to win. Now, what Bo and I won't say is, like, the offense has been better with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback in 2 games. That doesn't mean it's going to be better a month from now or a week from now. And they are choosing to roll the dice with that. I've been Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. defender with Drew Petzing up and down for the last 18 months. Mm-hmm. But it's clear Gannon is opting to say, I'm rolling with my OC and I'm rolling with the 32-year-old, and it's unfortunate, but Kyler, you're out this week. That's what they're doing.
And when you look around the league, as far as quarterback situation, Seattle, other places that have found success after being with a quarterback for an extended amount of time. I mean, there are teams that can make the pivot and they can do it well. I don't see any reason to pop on the mic and get in front of a camera and say, well, this is broken. It's never going to be fixed. Let's move on. Let's do a mock draft. Yeah. So, I mean, there's success stories around the league. I know this is a tortured fan base, and we're looking for a way out of this, just like everybody else.
One player, one off season can change it.
Yeah. Tanner Morris, $4.99. If we go rookie quarterback route, we need a new head coach. Rookie QBs who inherit, and the defensive coach on a hot seat tend to fail. People get fired. Eberflus using that as the main example.
I think a lot of it is going to be predicated, Tanner, and I agree with you, on how Jacoby Brissett finishes the year. How many games do they finish the year? How many wins do they finish with? That's going to be a big key. Do they finish with 7 or 8 wins, or do they finish with 4 or 5? If they finish with 4 or 5, no one's safe. If they finish with 7 or 8, and I know it's not ideal, Gannon and Ossenford will be able to go to Michael Bidwell and say, like, we like Jacoby. We're going to see what's available in the free agent market. We'll draft a quarterback, developmental guy. Here's what I know, though, is get a quarterback in an offense that you are comfortable running. Don't try to fit a square peg into a route. They had no interest or desire making an offense. Here's what I will say, Kyler Murray stands, is I will say that I don't think they had any interest in forming the offense around Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Probably won't put this one on the screen, even though we're not on fast, but Easy Money Chubbs, all caps. I don't know why I let this franchise continue, to have
I hurt you.
Its way, hurt you. Yes, with you. Feel your pain. Derek, thanks for the Saturday pod. Needed some counseling. Keith, $5.
It's a good question from Keith.
Is culture overrated? Great if it helps you win, but complimenting the culture for a losing team seems like a hollow victory.
You know what, Keith? I think it is overrated in some aspects. Now, the Cardinals culture before Gannon and Ossenford took over was the worst in the NFL, or like adjacent to like the Browns with Deshaun Watson. Like, they were having arrests, they were having controversies off the field. It was a very small box to check, but they had to check it. And I know that they've made the organization better for players. And that is a very commendable thing. They've made the organization a place where players can go and feel good about the food that they eat, the facility that they're going to go to, the fact that they don't have to pay. And you could say, like, well, poverty franchise, but you got to start somewhere. And Gannon and Ossenford were big advocates and making sure that this place in Scottsdale is getting built, North Phoenix. So, they've done a lot of good, and the roster is in a better place than it was in 2023. That can't be argued.
Yeah,
but this is not the Mid-America Conference here. This is the freaking NFC West. Now we're trying to figure out, do they have the goods to really compete in the NFC West? Because this was always a rebuild.
Wrapping it up here with Jeff, $4.99. MHJ's projected fantasy points legit went up after the news came out. Can't believe this is the season we've got. That is true. I did notice that.
I'm sure the over-under went up in this game. I mean, people who analyze this with the data, they don't care. They don't have agendas. They don't care who plays.
Right.
It's the offense has had more success with Jacoby Brissett. And again, I don't know if that's a sustainable thing or not. We'll see. Here's what I can tell you is we're going to be live throughout the course of the game on Monday Night Football. Bo is en route to Dallas Manana, hanging out with our friends Bo with Bird Game Travel. And then we're going to have full wall-to-wall coverage pre-halftime and post, and a watch-along here at PHNX Sports. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, don't want to miss out on that as we make our way towards 50,000 subscribers. Can't wait to catch up with Tyler and the crew that's there in Dallas, hang out with you, and, of course, enjoy all the festivities with Bird Gang. And enjoy the rest of your Saturday. If you're an ASU fan, celebrate that win. Big thanks to Noah and Johnny and everybody behind the scenes and everybody that took the time to tune into this emergency podcast here on a Saturday. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday here on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.